sure exactly how many people were arrested here at the Bryan County mega site, but we did confirm with an HSA special agent that this is a massive operation, and we got a glimpse at what happened during that raid from photos and videos sent to us by workers inside.
America just witnessed the largest ICE raid in history, and the numbers are staggering. At a Hyundai mega plant construction site in Georgia, federal agents swept in with helicopters overhead, buses lined up for transport, and undercover vehicles flooding the scene. When the dust settled, up to 450 people were in custody, making this the single biggest worksite immigration operation our country has ever seen. The scale of this enforcement is not just about numbers, it's about sending a clear message: illegal hiring and unlawful presence will not be ignored, no matter how big the business. Before we continue, one click on the subscribe button fuels all the effort behind this and every future video. Let's break it down: what really happened inside this massive raid, why ICE coordinated with multiple federal agencies, and what this means for America's fight to uphold the rule of law. It began early in the morning at the Bryan County mega site, where Hyundai's large-scale battery and auto manufacturing complex is under construction. Workers on the ground suddenly saw law enforcement vehicles pour into the site. Some employees were led away in handcuffs, while others stood in shock as Homeland Security investigations agents called for all work to stop immediately. Federal agents announced they had a judicially authorized search warrant for the entire construction area, and construction came to a halt. Videos and photos from inside the site quickly made their way online, showing the overwhelming presence of law enforcement. Witnesses described hundreds of undercover vehicles, Humvees blocking the entrances, and even helicopters circling overhead. Georgia State Patrol secured the perimeter, controlling who entered and exited. ICE was joined by the FBI, DEA, ETF, CBP, U.S. Marshals, and state troopers. The scale of this operation showed that the federal government wanted a message to be heard far beyond Georgia: immigration laws will be enforced, and no company is above accountability. Those cleared to leave were given official papers and instructed not to return to work for the day. But many were not cleared. Buses lined up at the entrance carried detainees away from the site, marking one of the largest single-day immigration enforcement actions in U.S. history. An ICE special agent confirmed on the record that this was a massive operation, though exact arrest totals were initially sealed under indictment. What is known, however, is that as many as 450 individuals were taken into custody, a figure unmatched in scale by previous ICE worksite raids. Workers on the ground described the emotional toll of the event. Some detainees cried and screamed, while others stood silent, realizing the seriousness of the charges they faced. The people ICE targeted were not random bystanders. According to investigators, this was part of a long-running probe into unlawful employment practices at a critical industrial project. Officials stressed that the raid was judicially authorized and carefully coordinated to enforce both immigration and labor law. Homeland Security investigations later confirmed that the operation was sealed under indictment, meaning that more details will emerge in court. But what is clear now is that this wasn't just about individuals overstaying visas or sneaking past checkpoints. This was about dismantling an illegal employment pipeline that had penetrated one of the most high-profile construction projects in the country. What makes this case stand out is not just the size of the raid, but also the background of many of those detained. Reports suggest a large number were South Korean nationals, raising questions about visa overstays and fraudulent employment practices. For years, ICE has warned companies that exploiting temporary visa programs or turning a blind eye to immigration violations would come with steep consequences. This raid proved that those warnings are now being carried out at the highest level. The Hyundai mega site is a massive, multi-acre project meant to anchor Georgia's growing role in U.S. auto manufacturing. But federal investigators revealed that beneath the surface of this ambitious project were serious violations of immigration and employment law. For ICE and its partner agencies, protecting the integrity of America's workforce and ensuring national security meant intervening on a historic scale. The raid also highlights an important principle: immigration enforcement is not limited to the southern border. Too often Americans hear about cartels, smuggling, and unlawful crossings in Texas, Arizona, or California. But this case shows that illegal activity reaches deep into U.S. communities and industry. Worksite enforcement remains one of ICE's most powerful tools to deter companies from exploiting unauthorized labor. By conducting large-scale raids, federal authorities not only remove individuals violating immigration law, but also put corporations on notice that compliance is mandatory. ICE was not acting alone. The presence of agencies like the FBI, DEA, ETF, and U.S. Marshals underlines that this operation was about more than immigration status. Federal authorities suspect that unlawful hiring practices can often link to other crimes, including fraud, money laundering, and even international networks that profit from exploiting foreign workers. By bringing so many agencies together, this raid sent a strong message: the U.S. government is united in its mission to protect national security, safeguard American jobs, and enforce the law. The images from that day left no doubt about the scale. Rows of law enforcement vehicles blocked roads. Buses carrying detainees rolled out under heavy escort. Helicopters hovered above to provide surveillance. For those watching, it was a reminder of the professionalism and organization that ICE and its partner agencies bring to such high-stakes operations. These are not random sweeps. They are carefully planned missions, built on months or even years of investigation, and executed with precision. It's also important to note the cooperation of the Hyundai-linked battery company, which stated publicly that they were fully assisting federal authorities. This shows how corporations must take responsibility for who they hire and how they verify employment eligibility. For too long, loopholes and lack of enforcement allowed some companies to exploit unauthorized workers for profit. This operation is a turning point, making clear that enforcement applies everywhere, from the smallest construction site to the largest industrial project. Critics of ICE often argue that raids create fear. But the reality is that enforcement protects communities, ensures fairness in the labor market, and upholds the rule of law. American workers deserve to know that jobs are not being undercut by unlawful employment practices. Families deserve to know that visa systems are not being abused. And the nation deserves confidence that immigration enforcement applies evenly and without exception. This raid in Georgia is not an isolated event, but part of a larger national strategy. Across the country, ICE and its partners are conducting targeted operations to identify, detain, and remove individuals violating U.S. immigration laws. These actions uphold the integrity of the legal immigration system, protect wages, and keep communities safe. The size of this raid may have broken records, but its purpose is consistent: to make clear that America will not tolerate violations that threaten security and undermine law and order. At the heart of it all is the professionalism of ICE agents, who carried out a complex, high-pressure mission with discipline and coordination. They entered a massive active construction site, ensured safety, secured the area, and carried out arrests without major incident. Their work demonstrates the critical role ICE plays in maintaining national security and enforcing federal law. Without these agents and their dedication, unlawful hiring practices would continue unchecked, undermining the foundations of America's workforce. This operation also shows the alignment of federal and state authorities. Georgia State Patrol played a key role in securing the area and managing traffic, while federal agents handled the investigation and arrest. Such coordination proves that when different levels of government work together, enforcement is stronger, safer, and more effective. As more details about the raid come out in court filings and press conferences, one thing is certain: this was a historic moment for immigration enforcement in the United States. It shows that ICE is not backing down, that federal agencies are working together at unprecedented levels, and that the rule of law still matters in America. For the 450 individuals detained, their cases will now move through the legal system. For companies watching across the country, the message is clear: follow the law, verify your workers, and respect America's immigration system. What do you think this massive raid means for the future of immigration enforcement in America? Will more companies finally take compliance seriously after seeing hundreds of arrests in one day? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you support ICE agents and law enforcement standing strong to protect America's jobs and security, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with friends.